You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na-na-na, na-na-na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
you are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip.
that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be.
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go. So I
Okay,
can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. And so delighted you're here. This is a show about hope and happiness. So if you're looking for political rhetoric or ranting, not here, sorry. Instead, I want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news, good people when I've guests, good series like today, Friday, tempting conversations with my co-host who's getting coffee right now, but she'll be on in a second, Elan Carter. And this is show number 1104 podcast show. I think I was doing podcasts before they named them podcasts, as well as 617 consecutive weeks on the air. So I'm so grateful that people who said this positive show would not last more than a year were kind of wrong. And we're coming up on 12 years. And I'm so delighted to be able to tell you we've got a plethora of fabulous guests coming up. I mean, we always do, but some highlights. Dr. John Gray, mega best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, coming back live in studio next Tuesday to celebrate Valentine's. And then after that, I have Dee Wallace, from the mom from E.T., who has been a guest before, repeat guest, same with Dr. Gray, who are friends. And I'm just... It's really, really, I know how fortunate I am to have these, household names come on the show, have a conversation, and end up being friends and repeat guests. And I am so fortunate. And newest friend who's coming on as a guest, I got to go to his home in Las Vegas to interview him, Mr. Rich Little. They call him the man of 1,000 voices. He corrects that in the interview without the spoiler. But this is a book that I got from him signed, going to his home and then watching as a VIP guest at the Tropicana. I love my life. So he's coming up as well. So please do keep it tuned to this show for just interesting guests, interesting talk. And I am giving away my last pair of tickets to my show sponsor, When Music Meets the Soul at the Saban Theater. It is Engelbert Humperdinck. And you, I know some people say, is he still alive? He is alive. Not only is he alive, he does amazing performances for at the Saban Theater. I've seen him before at another venue, one of my other sponsors, I think Cerritos Center for Performing Arts, but he will be on Chinese New Year, which is tomorrow, going to be in the Saban Theater. Let's see if I can pull this up. And here we go. And if you don't know, about him, I was kind of surprised too. He in a career spanning over 50 years, he's generated sales in excess of 140 million records, including 64 gold, 35 platinum, 4 Grammy, a Golden Globe, and stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and Las Vegas Walk of Fame. So he exploded on the music scene with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. The shy, handsome man catapulted almost instantly to world icon. He became friends with Elvis, and the two legends often performed each other's song. His first single in the charts was Release Me, which went into the Guinness World Book of Records, achieving 56 consecutive weeks on the charts. It was #1 in 11 countries. So please do go to drmarissa.life and get your free tickets to see Engelbert tomorrow, which is Chinese New Year, and Xin Nian Kuai Le, which is Happy New Year. Xin Nian Kuai Le means New Year happiness. So you can learn that in order to be correct tomorrow. Don't cut your hair. Don't sweep your floor. Otherwise, you will remove all good fortune from your life. And we do finally have my co-host here. Her name is Elan Carter. She's my Friday co-host of Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and
Coffee Time.
Cheers. I already finished with my coffee, so we've got.
I had time trouble getting on this morning. Actually, been up for a long time, but I'm having some internet issues, so hopefully we won't have any problems.
Yeah, sure.
It wasn't connected.
Troy says it's not Friday without a visit from Elan. So there's your
thank you, Troy.
Yeah, and he's got his first gratitude up too. Those of you who have never been with me before, where have you been? But we start every show with breakfast, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So what are you grateful for? 8 things. Troy's starting us off right now. He's grateful it's Friday. I live for Friday night, where he is a show host himself on Last Call with Troy Pacelli on his YouTube channel. So you'll have to check him out. And when I am free, I pop in there as well. And Elan, I think, has been a guest on the show, or it's just Maria's. We've switched. I think I've been a guest on Troy's, and you've been a guest on Maria's.
Yes, we have to get Troy on here.
there you go. He
heard that. I know you've heard that.
He subs in on my Straight Talk show when I don't have when my co-host is doing auditioning usually. But what are you grateful for, Elan?
I am grateful that my mother is actually doing really well with her treatment. You know, we started, and this is an everyday thing now. So it's going to be like that for the next couple months, but she's doing good. She's doing good, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yes, me 3, for sure. I am so grateful that she is on the mend and not going to get pulled down by any kind of C word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the mend to healing.
And he did hear that. Love for you to meet his wife, Netter. If you'd like to join us Friday Night Scream, we'd love to have you. So
thank you.
We'll see if when that will work out. But I am grateful that I had a relatively non-crazy trip back from Vegas. It took me actually, Elan, when I left on Monday, I left at 12:30. Didn't get to Vegas until 6:40. So I could have driven, but my client paid for the flight, and I'm grateful for that. Coming back, it was just a little bit late, but I did fall in the rain on the concourse.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and on my hip that was replaced, but everything's good. And
I am grateful that you're fine.
Thank you.
Speaking of falling in the rain, did I send you the video of me falling last week?
No.
Actually, should send it so you guys can play it, so everyone's gonna laugh. So my dog, right, Conan, was not feeling well, so my husband left him outside, and I hear this different type of bark, and we have lots of coyotes. And you know, Dr. Marissa's been in my house. I have this long hallway. If you look up, I have these windows. I could see the top of the hill. I saw 5 coyotes. I belted down the hallway, right? I kicked my slippers off, It's early in the morning. You know, I can't see. I have no contacts. And I see Conan dash for the top of the hill. I go around my pool trying to like do a juke move and try to scoot around. And I have turf around the pool. Well, it's wet, so it's really plastic. I busted my rumpity rump. See, I was careful.
Yes. I screwed up yesterday.
I busted my rumpity rump. My legs go up in the air. I fall back on my hip and my head, and you hear my mother screaming. And she's like worried about me because I just fall back. I missed dog poop from the top of my head to the foot. I don't even know how I missed it because I thought for sure. But all I thought was my dog. That's how much I love my animals, right? So I get back up. I'm so disoriented. I'm running up because I have another flight of stairs to get up to the top of my yard. And I'm like, Conan. And I went out there to get the coyotes. And it's on video because it's on my Ring camera. And my mother now finds that as entertainment. So when we come back, you hear her screaming. It's the way I pop up. It's like, boop, boop. It's like, when they have the American Home videos, she can't stop laughing. But it wasn't funny because my hip hurts, my shoulder hurts, my head hurts. And then I'm at the top of the yard with no slippers on, in mud, running back and forth because of the coyotes. And my little dog, Ollie, which I don't want to get him to get bit. He's the one that's the fighter, right? But he's little. So he comes out to rescue mommy when I fall and bust my butt. Anyway, I didn't mean to supersede your falling story, but when you see this falling story,
definitely send it to me.
And this is not the age where we want to fall.
No, it isn't, even though we're #ageless. But I'm glad you're okay. I'm grateful that you're okay. Although I do want to see the video. I probably
you're gonna cry. I sent it to my sister. Everyone that's seen it can't stop laughing.
Oh, that's so funny. I can't wait to see it. If you just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in the studio, it is Friday. It is Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and coffee drinking
Elan Carter.
And we are we're having breakfast together, taking a bite of gratitude sandwich. Let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is what do you appreciate about yourself? So gratitude's outside of yourself. Appreciation is the foundation, I believe, of good mental health. If you can soothe yourself, if you can care about yourself, if you can love yourself, you're not going to have to want to take something to feel better, because that's my BS, and I hope you drink that Kool-Aid. So in order for you to practice that and do some weight training about self-love, what do you like about yourself? I'll start. Go ahead. Oh, no, you go.
I'm just going to say that I can laugh at, I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to send it. I'm going to go out and send it to her so you guys can play it. I'm going to say that I can laugh at myself.
And that's a very important skill.
Right. And I don't get offended by it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that I am open. Always open to new opportunities, and I'm, I love new things. And because of that, I got to interview Rich Little in his home in Vegas, which was so cool. Played his piano, his grand piano, and got VIP treatment in the Tropicana. And it was just, and as a result, I may get to interview Charo. Do you remember Charo?
I got a Charo story.
Oh. Well, we're setting that up to have her come on the show.
You have to tell her this. So, okay, I know we're going off from our
That's
thing.
all right. That's all right.
So the Temptations used to always go on a variety show in the 70s called Dinah Shore. There was a lot of variety shows back then, and I was a little girl. And one particular time that he was on the Dinah Shore, the Temptations were on, Charo was on, and I was backstage, and I think my mom had just done my hair, and I had really long hair, and then I was a cute little girl. I had hair down my waist. And Charo was in backstage. She goes, coochie, coochie, coo. And she's like, who's this little girl? And she was so sweet because she was such a big star then. And she tried to get me to go on stage, do the coochie coo with her, but I was too shy and too scared. But I'll never forget that because I was a little girl. I'm like, oh my God, that's Charo. And she's like, was doting on me when I was a little kid. And they were like, oh, that's the Otis's daughter. And she was so sweet. So she won't remember that, but I remember that. The Dinosaur Show. Maybe say Dinosaur and Temptation, she might remember.
All right. Well, maybe we'll invite her on here on the Friday show. So that would be fun. Troy says, I appreciate my smile. It makes me feel good. And I've been told it's inviting to others. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
Very nice. Very nice.
A smile warms the soul.
For sure. I call laughter cardio for your soul.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love laughing. I appreciate, Elan, you'll be happy to hear this, that I did go on a date in Vegas. And yes, and I have to say that this trip to Vegas, I actually did a little movement on how I see myself. And you know, a lot, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that some of the baggage that I carry about my body and how I look, you know, came from You're Fat and Ugly, and then marrying a man that didn't find me attractive as well. And so I've been working on this. And I have to say that when I was in Vegas, I don't think I felt as attractive as I have ever in my life that I did in Vegas. Like, several times I looked in the mirror and went, you know, you're kind of hot.
I saw that black dress, that black beautiful dress you had on. It was like, I thought that was such a lovely look on you. Oh my God, it was so pretty. So yes, you looked very hot. I'm going to tell you that. And you know, even though you're Dr. Marissa, who gives everyone advice, take that advice. I'm the one that gives you advice because sometimes the doctor needs some structure. Because I have to get your head out of the books, right? So I think I can come at you and look at a different perspective. That could be, I appreciate that I could look things at a different perspective because as a model, you had to have so much confidence. And as a Black model, things were so different because I was a working model in the 90s, right? There were very few of us. So I had to have a different kind of confidence. So I think I can give women that kind of self-confidence and that goes for men too, any insecurities, because I can look at things differently. I think that sometimes if you look at it from how you've been taught on a academic level, you don't see it because that's how you apply it. And as us both being ethnic women, you have to apply it differently. Right? So how someone's going to approach me is going to be totally different because there's some things that are just more acceptable in Asian culture in the world that we live in than as a minority Black woman. So I have to apply those rules, how I help people, which I really think that's why I'm empathetic to a lot of people. And I think that until when people go, oh, things are different. Oh, it's not like that. I'm like, unless you walk in our shoes, you can't say that. Because you don't know the subtleness of an everyday thing, which will parlay into the Black history thing we're going to talk about, that I think helps me to apply it to everyday life, to all races, all kinds of people, because of my experiences. So when I tell you stuff like that, I'm like, who is to say that you are not beautiful? You have to feel beautiful about yourself. You know, you're a really attractive woman, right? So when I was modeling, I would hear all kinds of not nice things. And a lot of times I didn't get jobs. I was like, I remember one woman saying I wasn't pretty enough for something. And I was like that. And I was never conceited or arrogant, but I can show you my young pictures when I was high. I go, one thing you can say about me is you may not like me, but you can't say that I'm not pretty. And maybe because you just don't want me because I'm a Black girl, then say that. Say how you really feel, because you can't say I'm not pretty because I'm dated everything under the rainbow. I mean, I've appealed to obviously people that probably haven't dated my type. So I apply my things to help. It helps others, if that makes sense. I don't know if I don't know if I said it where it makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. And Mama's saying, preach.
That's right. Mama taught me. even though you can't tell what the heck she is.
Yeah.
She can kind of go either way in any world, right? Until I get loud on her, unless she has a tan.
Yeah. And what I do love and appreciate about both of you is that you are both beautiful, but you don't define yourself as that. Like both playmates, both models, both known for beauty, but there's a lot of depth. Like beauty is just only one aspect of you, right? You have, it's a multidimensional. For me, it's embracing the beautiful side. I embrace everything else, the smart, the funny, the whatever, that business acumen. But the beauty side is tough for me because of all that.
And because you are applying to the standard of what you think beauty is because of media. When I did the Playboy special recently, the woman kept saying to me, because she kept trying to dig, the producer was amazing, but I knew what she was getting at. She kept saying, but as a black woman, I was like, excuse me, I have the lady parts. I am a pretty woman. I don't have to say it, but sometimes I have to let you know and remind you when it is applied. When I need to apply it, I will check you. And I said to her, I go, you are basically trying to say, did I feel inferior because I was black? I said to her, your opinion, if someone is standard beauty, is blonde, that's your opinion. I said, because that is not the world. Beauty is beauty. And how could you categorize it? Because that's what the media portrays. So you want me to feel inferior. I have to tell you, I'm very confident, and I can walk in a room with 20,000 beautiful blonde chicks, and I don't feel insecure. But then, because I'm confident with myself. I'm confident of who I am. I'm confident that I'm a black woman and pretty. I wouldn't look the way I do if it wasn't for the mixtures that I have. I have mixtures of everything, right? Mm-hmm. So I embrace all that. That doesn't make me feel less, but she kept trying to do that. And that's what I try to tell you. You don't fit in no one's box of beauty. You know what? Because I was attracted to you because I was like, oh my God, what a pretty woman. And look at her outfit, right? Mm-hmm. I instantly was like drawn to you. So, if you can't go by what media portrays, they're the ones that are controlling everything because they're going to keep, I have to say things are a lot different than they used to be. It was like the Holly Berry when I was working was the beautiful black woman. I was like, there's a ton of girls that look like that. You just don't push it out there. You portray just one way so you can make your people look more attractive. If you put an exotic woman in a room and then you put another woman in a room, and I know you don't like to talk about Kim Kardashian, but I saw her when she first hit the scene. I remember her walking in front of my car, and when she first did some of the magazines, and I was like, that girl is gorgeous. She had nothing done, no matter what everyone says. And I was like, she's beautiful. If you put her in a room with a ton of blonde girls, she was going to stand out because she was that kind of pretty, right? So what I'm saying to you is you have to peel that layer off, because I really believe that this is becoming a session. I really believe that you apply that for what you think everyone feels is pretty. And I think also too, maybe you apply that because of the type of person you're attracted to.
Yeah, I used to say, if I could see myself 20% as well as people see me who say, you're beautiful or you're whatever. Right. But it just, there's so many of those negative filters. But my point being is that I'm melting those. Like those are literally.
You're doing really good.
I am really.
But can I ask you? Is that because? Well, you've talked about it. It stems from. If it comes from your parents, it's different. It hits you different.
Yeah. Well, them and I was on my way to school, 14, thick glasses. Pimples, heavy. And this guy went by on a bike and went, ugly. And
we all look funny at 14. We weren't cute at 14. We were just starting to get bugs. And I had acne at 14.
Yeah. Yeah. But what happened was I made a conscious decision and said, well, I'm obviously not going to get anywhere on my looks. I have to be nice, which is a really interesting, I have to be nice. That's my strategy to be liked, right? And then fast forward 3-4 years, when I decided to prove that I was not ugly, dropped 40 pounds, started modeling 17 in high school. And, you know, I remember that moment where I said, I don't have to be nice anymore.
Right.
And I got the jobs because I looked different, right? Because they were moving into whatever. But I still inside had those glasses of seeing myself that way. So it just has been the last thing on my docket that I haven't been able to move past. But I had this couple guests on, and I shared, you know, my where I was, and they're like, oh, you need some work. You need to work on this. You need to, you know, you should work with me. And I'm like, you know, it was like a $9,000 program. I remember going, you know what? This is something that I need to do, and I can do it myself. So since that time, I've been working on me.
You can do the Elan Carter Chronicles. Elan Carter Chronicles. You don't need that dude. Just take
Save
me
myself
and I will give you all the sessions you need. I promise you won't need any of that.
Yeah, no,
that's
and
just a way to
that's
try to
what
get money out of you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was such a good trip because I felt like I didn't need anybody to say you're beautiful.
You don't need the approval. That's what you have to understand. You're seeking approval for someone to validate what you don't feel. And so, you know, someone was asking me about modeling when I was young versus now. Someone posted a video of me that from back in the day, the Bobby Brown, and they had Whitney Houston talking about it. So I reposted it this morning, right?
Oh.
So I didn't really see that interview about how she felt. And they go, well, how do you feel now? And I said, you know, the whole thing was one of Trace's friends last night. I said, you know, you have to understand when people get to a certain age, you feel the same way, but then you look and realize that when we stand next to someone your age, that's gone now, right? And that's really hard to accept when you have used your aesthetic to, well, it validates who you are, it validates your career, and you have to learn to accept that. And that is the hard part for people who are in that industry, who are visible in the camera, that you look different because you don't feel different. And then you'd see that younger people look at you. And I was trying to explain that to him. I was like, but you know, we just have to be confident and keep doing what you do and look the best you can for what you're working with, right? Every day you get up and go, okay, I look good for my age. And you know, you hate when people say that, but it's true. And if you don't think that, go to the Midwest, because people they just don't do the things that we do in California. You see people who are 55, 60 years old and they look not even 40 because everyone, even the men get Botox, the men go on diets. Everyone looks young in LA. They just could do, right? So when you want to feel bad, go look at someone your age that lives in another part of the country. And it's really good. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying, you know, you go, oh, okay, I should be grateful that I have, you know, I got something to work with.
Yeah, definitely. So many layers on that. But anyways, that was the long answer to the appreciation and valuable. I mean, I appreciate the coaching because it is true. This is how I am, you know, really for the first time in my life. I'm so excited about loving my physical body as I am, you know, as I'm still losing, you know, I back on that. And now I'm 8 pounds away from what I was, you know, when the project of losing 40 again. But and it doesn't even, it's not that it doesn't matter, but I'm feeling good about my body no matter what, which is really different.
Well, you look really amazing. I saw that dress and thought it was really beautiful. I go, oh, what a pretty dress. It just stood out, like that orange outfit you had on. That's why you're getting all that attention. And you know she was dancing, doing her little I was like, there she goes, dancing queen.
Hashtag dancing queen. And I got that in Australia, believe it or not.
Oh, I love that dress. It's so
yeah,
pretty.
I'm so grateful, and so I appreciate the growth in me. All right,
Yes.
I love my life. Oh, I got some applause from Mama. Thank you. Troy says it's true. The media machine doesn't speak for all of us. Yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and don't you forget it. And if it's yourself,
I don't think that, and I don't want to be like attacking like, oh, that's the standard. I don't even think the media machine thinks that's the standard of beauty, because there's beauty in every culture, every race. I mean, you just explore the world, and I travel different parts of the world. I think that that's what the media wants us to just apply what they want to have for their agenda. They know better, because I go in a room full of beautiful girls when I was auditioning. I mean, one after another, because everyone comes to LA, right? These girls were so beautiful. I'd be like, well, God darn, what the heck, where they come from? And you don't see them ever, right? So when they sit there and go, we couldn't find someone, that's not true. It was girls of all types. They just wanted their agenda. And then the girls that they did put out there weren't half as pretty as some of the girls that walked in that don't get the opportunity. And also too, a lot of times they don't want to take away from their products. So they don't want you to be, but so much. But if anyone wants to see beauty, come to LA, go on an audition. It's ridiculous. You have to really be tough, because you get your feelings hurt.
And I just want to clarify something. I don't not like Kim Kardashian. And the only reason why I used to say this show is about hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk. I want you to focus on your own reality show and not that of the Kardashians, not because I didn't like the Kardashians, but I was trying to balance out, like you stand in a shopping line, and instead of attending to your family, your children, or just being aware of what's going on, you're on the phone with somebody talking about what the Kardashians are doing. And it's like, my point being, like, why are you so obsessed with people that don't mean anything to yourself, and your kid is right beside you, saying, hey, mom. And that's my point. So plus,
and you're right, but I think it goes back to what the media wants to portray, which is great to distract us, right? Kim Kardashian and her mother, they had a hard day. I have a friend who is my friend, they had a really hard time. And she had been married before, and I do know this, and the guy mistreated her. They had a hard time before, right? So the media wants to always they make you a star, right? You don't get to be a star just because they decide. So they decided, hey, let's make this family, however they got there, so we would be distracted from other things. They just happened to get that opportunity. And I am glad that she's turned it around on herself and decided to go back to school and apply some of the rules to better herself, right?
Yes. And I actually like her now. And I had a guest, my satellite sister, Akuya Graham, who asked me specifically not to say no gossip, no scandal, no K words, Kardashian talk, because she donated millions to her nonprofit that is Spirit Awakening for juvenile, helping kids in the juvenile system. So I took it up, and now I say Kanye talk. But the point is not about her. It was about the preoccupation. Uh-oh, we're losing you on the. You sound like Darth Vader. You're frozen in a nice smile, though. But anyways, I can't hear you, darling. You're we finally got that bad internet over there. So, but no, you're still coming in tinny. But I'll do a station ID. Why don't you go out and come back in? If you've just tuned in, this is Dr. Marissa on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with me every weekday morning on KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, and of course, LinkedIn and Facebook, and most important, Dr. Marissa Central, which is my YouTube TV channel that you can free subscribe, and you'll get an alert every weekday morning so you can tune in live for topics, guests, and special series like this one. And it is Friday, and that is why Elan Carter is here, daughter of the founder of The Temptations, who is one of the Temptations and still performing, Otis Williams. Great guy, and I got to interview him and the Temptations thanks to Elan's son, my honorary nephew, and he is Trace Austin. He's a fabulous musician, did not fall far from his father's musical tree, and she's back, Elan. Yay, yay.
Hey,
you're
you're
no longer frozen. So
I'm frozen now?
No, I said you're no longer frozen.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah. So we let it go, let it go. And she is. We're still talking about our breakfast together, taking a bite of the gratitude sandwich, but we're finishing up. We promise that if you sandwich your day with gratitudes, and then at night before you go to bed with appreciations, you will sandwich it in the most positive way. And if you do it for 28 consecutive days, you will honestly change the way your life is going, especially if you're not happy about where it is. This is a good life habit and a discipline. So thank you for joining us for breakfast. And it is.
I sent you the video. I sent you the video.
Where? On the on an email? Oh no, on the text. No.
On your text.
I can't. I don't know if I can get this. We'll definitely have it by next week because I can't. Let me. So.
You want me to send an email?
Yeah, send an email and then I can pull it up. But it is February, Black History Month, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because I think it is important for us to recognize this month. And it is not, I believe that, when I hear people go, well, why do we have to pay attention to one race? Why aren't we paying attention to all races? And my standard response is, we've had focus on one or a few races for the history of America, and there are underserved and more deserved, as I say, races and heritage that have not gotten a fair break or have been discriminated against. And that, putting that much on the table, is why we have Black History Month, why we have Asian Pacific Month, why we have Native American Month. So that is why I wanted to just mark the occasion today. We will have guests on this month to highlight that. Again, this is an interesting topic too, because people will say to me, so as an Asian woman, what do you think about blank? And earlier, I think Elan was also referring to that as a Black woman, the woman that wanted you to talk about how you were disenfranchised as a Black model. And it is racism, and talking about race and talking about color is not an easy one, because yes, I am an Asian woman, but I am more than an Asian woman, and I don't necessarily follow the group differences in Asian women. So when a guy says to me, I've always been attracted to Asian women, if I stay, I will say, I'm not cooking for you, I'm not cleaning for you, and the only way I'm walking on your back is with high heals the hurt. Because I hate being, minimalized into that sector or that group difference. At the same time, if you say you're a beautiful, I always wanted, they say you're a beautiful Asian woman when I was modeling. Why can't you just say I'm a beautiful woman? Why does it have to be beautiful Asian woman? So it's a tricky, very slippery road to go down. So when I say we're honoring Black history, we're honoring Asian, we're honoring Native American, it is not to, it's not to bring up all of the negative things that come with the identification. It is to honor all of us. Yes, we all have blood. Yes, we all bleed red. Yes, we are all humankind. And at the same time, we all have memberships in different group differences that the only way we're going to get to be okay about talking about this is to talk about it. And so that is why, I try to recognize a lot of them, but I also, my heart goes to colorful women. I believe that women of color have not had a fair break. I got to interview a Black boxer, a Native American hammer thrower, all these women who of color who, it's a sharp edge, a double-edged sword. Are you being honored because of your difference or because of what you're good at? And I think that's the problem with affirmative action too, is it's that double-edged sword. So anyways, that is why I am marking this month, because it is to honor Black history and all of the things that Black women and men have contributed, where when you go to school in the past, you don't hear about it, right? You hear about old dead presidents. And so,
yeah. And no one Europeans everything everyone that's European that's done has been fantastic in our history books. Correct. But we've done nothing. So let me give you a little insight about Black history. First of all, I want to say not everybody has this mentality of being racist in this country. I don't believe everyone is. I have mixed race people in my family, white and Black. Amongst other things, I think racism is a form of narcissism, because you're saying that you're superior of someone else just based on race. And I also want to say that Caucasian people, I want to be careful how I word this because I don't want people to be offended. That's the power that they have in this world, is racism. People who are not doctors, who are not attorneys, who are not officials, who don't have like the most successful thing. And I mean, there's those people who want to keep the hierarchy and not let other people in. They have the racist mentality too. That's the only power you have. So when you get mad at someone who is ethnic, the first thing you resort to is saying a racial thing to offend them. When people call me the N-word, I laugh and go, wow, we call each other that. You think I haven't heard that word? If you're angry with me or I did something mean to you, why would you be the first thing that you go to? Is that your first go-to word? And it's becoming ridiculous now, because that's the only thing that makes you feel powerful is being racist. And they know that in this country. I can travel to Italy, I can travel to Germany, and people look at you, because I don't look, there's a lot of African people. I look different. I look like I'm probably American. And they look at you like, well, you are alien. You must have some money. How can you afford to be here? That's the whole thing that comes in people's heads. So as an American, I had this class and I had a teacher who was talking about African-American history and how, first of all, he was second generation immigrant, which I was in my 30s when I was in this class. There was another woman who was closer to my age, and everybody was young students. And I challenged him and I said, how could you say that when you're an immigrant? You're only second generation. We've been here 400 years. Like, we are not immigrants. And when we only get 1 month to contribute to acknowledge Black History Month, it's a bit offensive, because we contribute to America to make America what it is, right? It's not like, and this is not anything against you, you didn't have the Asian culture 6 generations ago. You didn't have the Hispanic culture before they took over in California 6 generations ago. The only ones that were here were Native Americans. And now there's evidence that proves that Black people were here, because the Moorish people, if people did their history, they would know that they've hidden this, that Black people were already here, but they had to portray this image of slavery to bring it over. You didn't bring that many people here and that many people in this country. That just did not happen, right? So they had to portray this image of, we brought slaves over. That's not what happened, because we were actually here already. There were, if you look at the Kings and the Samoans, you look at their history, the Moorish were in Hawaii. Their Hawaiian kings are African, and the people in Hawaii, I spent a lot of time there, will tell you that. So, your cell phone, you're having a blood transfusion, a stoplight, a toilet, a comb, an ironing board, all these things, the computers, everything we use every day, Black people built. The locomotive. It's amazing how people don't know that we built everything in this country for free, and everyone we've had our lands taken away, and people sit there and go, oh, we're lazy, we don't do anything. So when they give you 1 month, Europeans weren't here. And when they did bring us over, they came here at the same boat we came. So why do you give us a month? Why can't you call us an American person? Why do you have to distinguish us? Because everything that you have, just the peanut butter, right? A potato chip, it's Jack Daniels. All that stuff was created by us, and we don't get that acknowledgement. And so when you sit there and go, we're not American, everything that you eat, everything that you use in this country was created by a Black person, and a helicopter created by a Black person. The first car before Ford, he stole from a Black man. They don't talk about that. Right. So all these things that people don't know that you use every day, and you go, oh, well, they're different. That's not true. You were able to capitalize and take over, which you did do that, right? But don't put us in a category. So like Black people are kind of having a hard time dealing with the Black History Month, because so many cultures that come over that we embrace, but because the other cultures don't recognize us, and that's taught, because they don't want people to know that, so they like us. So, and then, we have the hip hop music, which I have a hard time with that, because it's betrayed such a negative image of our culture that it's dummied the young generation down, which now we're trying to fight that to get, like, I tell these young kids, I go, what my grandparents fought for and my parents fought for to get you where you are, now you're just taking us back. So there's a lot of things that we have I think the media's done a really good job to portraying us in a negative way again, to bring us back. And I want positive things. I want people just to acknowledge and do a little bit of Googling, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to be, it's a lazy way. Just Google and look at all the stuff that our people have contributed to this country and the world that everybody uses, and just see us as people and stop labeling us. Oh, you're pretty for a Black girl. You're pretty for an Asian woman. Oh, well, yeah, my Black best friend. Those terms are offensive. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't mean to be negative today.
No,
I just want people to learn and just go, hey, people act like if Martin Luther King, if we acknowledge it, it's to take away from white people. That's not true. We just don't want I have to worry about my son driving. My son has a nice car. He's 19, he drives a Mercedes, and I have to put a tracking device on his phone, because why do I have to worry about him driving at night? I have a girlfriend, and we get into it because she's Jewish, and she says, oh, well, people don't like Jewish people. I said, my son's grandmother's Jewish. So is he going to be discriminated because of being part Jewish, or because he's brown as a Black kid? So these are things that, as a mother, that everyday people who complain that we're always fussing, that you don't have to worry about your kid at night going out, getting stopped by the officials, by the police, not by somebody just being racist, just the police.
Right.
These are the things that we just want recognition. It's not because we are taking anything away from anybody, and we're the most empathetic culture. That we embrace everybody. You could be the most mean person and we will be empathetic and just embrace people because we just do, because that's just kind of our nature. We don't have hate. We're not going to treat people bad because they treat us bad. We want everyone to, we're going to be nice to everybody. So anyway, about Black History Month, if you want to acknowledge it, that's fine. We just want you to acknowledge us every day and be nice. How about that? Every day.
No, I am so glad that you explained that, because I was shocked, because I thought she would be kind of happy that we were going to do that. And I put the text like, all right, if we really have to talk about it.
I did. But I was like, why are we doing this?
I understand. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's such an important thing for people to understand, that I did not, until you just explained it, that yes, Black African Americans were here not even just as slaves, but they were here and did. I do acknowledge the part that all the money that the blue bloods supposedly, that's all on the backs of African Americans who were brought
we'd be
here
rich too.
For no against their will. And I was actually at one of the ports in Accra where that happened, and my heart was just like horrified.
Well, just also too, like, I was trying to produce a movie called Black Wall Street, which in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which people don't acknowledge that not only was there a race riot, every time we tried to do the film. Matter of fact, Chadwick Boseman, before he passed away, he wanted to play the lead, because so many people have tried to get this film out, because the government dropped a bomb on that town. They're not talking about that Lake Elsinore, the one in Georgia that everyone keeps drowning, they keep saying they have mysterious deaths. That was a Black town. They killed so many people, and they say it's haunted because people die. Park in New York City, what's the name? The big park in Central Park. That was a Black town. So they cover up freeways. Either they make a lake or they just make a park. Look at it. It's just, if you really dig in deep, you'll find a lot of stuff why we lost so much stuff. My biological dad lives on 100 acres of land in South Carolina that my Native American grandfather bought. Right? My family still lives on the land, and he said, do not sell it, because he married a mixed race Black woman. And he said, just because of him he was half Scott Irish. So he didn't look Native American, but because of that, he was able to buy that land. Right? And he said to keep it, because he was married to someone ethnic, he had to succumb a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So we're just blessed that we still, the family still has that. But it's just for people to recognize that we're not complaining just because we're not different in other cultures. And, honestly, I have to say, and I live in California, so we're very liberal out here and people don't like it. I don't have issues with Caucasian people with the racism. It's the other cultures that are racist towards us, right? Mm-hmm. I really feel bad saying that, but I'm just saying to you that you see the stuff on TV and it's like the whites against the Blacks. That's not the issues. It's the other cultures that come here that see that are not nice towards us, that we have the problems with. I remember trying to rent a house, rent a place, and I didn't even want to say what race he was. And the guy was just so nasty. And then the real estate said he just doesn't want to rent to you. And at the time I was making a lot of money. And even had my stepdad was going to sign for me. And he just said, I don't want to rent to you. And he was of another culture. Yeah. And so that's the problems that we're dealing with now. We're dealing with other cultures looking at us in a bad way, unless we're famous. If we're famous, it's okay.
Right. And we're coming up on 2 minutes. So I am really grateful that you explained the whole thing, because now I absolutely have a very different view of Black History Month. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I don't want to be negative. I'm not angry. I don't want people to think I'm mad. I'm not. No.
I don't. But this is like all those things that you said were, invented by African Americans. I didn't know any of that.
That's a fraction. So the computer, the cell phone, it's a fraction of what is invented.
And I thought it was Chinese people who had the market on inventions. But I'll admit,
they perfected it. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
They did perfect it.
Thank you. But I agree with you. Chinese, I'm ashamed to say that Chinese are one of the most prejudiced races. I was given
Japanese, Middle Eastern.
Yeah. So
Hispanics are getting better. Nobody likes us.
The good
but
news
I like
is
it. So
I love colorful women. I love people of color. I am one. I want to put the kind back into humankind. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a very good, tempting conversation with Dr. Marissa and my beautiful
Elan
co-host.
Carter.
I
just want one last thing. I just want us all to get together and cook food, and then we can just eat each other's food, and we'll have such a wonderful time over food.
Especially your banging butterscotch bundt cake.
I may come right now.
It's all about balance, peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from her living room with Elan Carter, wishing you the best weekend ever.
Ever.
We'll see you on Monday.